have map choice, we'd have to assume.
Yep, and they are going to Sky Temple. Game number 2. They want to start rotating. They love to. Now, as Jungha as their dedicated shot caller, I heard that having Jungha, of course, he's the main. Of course, they're still sharing lots of ideas, still lots of members, still doing lots of shot calling, but he's the main one right now. So he is the dedicated one. And in terms of shot calling and how they rotate, they said it's working better. So I would love to see the new rotational. Of course, it will be similar, but I want to see some crisp rotational happening from L5 as they chose the map.
Let's see what the draft will show us as we head into it, though. As this is definitely not a Garrosh map, you would have to argue. You know, we're both talking about how it's very strong in the 4-man on a 2-lane map or in a map with small lanes like Tomb of the Spider Queen. I feel like for Infernal Shrines, you could maybe push the issue, make it happen on Infernal Shrines, but Sky Temple I think is pretty much a no-go. So we'll see if I'm wrong here, as we've only had one professional game of Garrosh to judge from so far, and it was L5 versus RRR, so what are you going to do? But we're going into game 2 now. First ban will, of course, go to RRR. That's why the map choice was L5's. And we'll see if they want to try to leave the Genji open to take it themselves, and try to grab the Ariel, and take a more standard approach to the draft than they did in the previous set. Not to say Tyrael Greymane is not standard, but usually you want to pick it later and prevent that Genji.
Well, SCSC's Genji was pretty powerful, and so you want to go around and have Ariel open and ban Illidan, of course. Jungha's Illidan was way too powerful, even back starting from 2015. So you want to take Genji instantly. That's why you try to ban Illidan from the beginning L5. Just let that happen, just banning Ariel, because giving out Ariel seems like a worse choice than Genji, and they can have Genji in their hands. And L5, they had lots of the counters coming in. We saw lots of Chen Avatar especially happening. Also grabbing Uther as having the Storm to counter all the dive. Sometimes we saw Brightwing coming into play with the Emerald Wind. That happened a lot during Eastern Clash. Maybe we'll see lots of Swoi Brightwing again.
Falstad is not out of the question either here, and I'm hoping to see more Falstad, as you were saying. I think is very underrated still. Has one of the highest win rates. Win rate per game played in terms of when you extend the ratio up, he has the second highest next to Genji. Well, L5 here, what do they want to do? They can take the Uther away, and Ariel is removed, so we're going to take the approach of Dahaka over the Falstad. Obviously, this is the more meta approach to having control of the macro.
Uther still, without Ariel, one of the best supports right now in the meta.
Pre-nerf.
Pre-nerf, yes. So in Dahaka, of course, they chose the map. They want to go with the rotations, and I want to see a pretty damn good rotations coming out from L5 with the dedicated shot caller, as we mentioned, and that's a way to defeat a team, especially like RRR. Game number 1, they were focusing entirely in team fight, not much at all in the rotation, soaking up EXP. Avatar was soaking the entire game from the beginning to the end.
They need to grab Rhaegar here, I think, if they want to have burst healing. Rhaegar hasn't really been used with Genji by the Korean teams in the Eastern Clash, but I feel like when you look at how MSG has been playing, I think it's a good pick because he's just so good on the hero, which is why I think it was banned in the secondary ban phase last game. Obviously, it's great with the Greymane, but Malthael will be banned here, just trying to target down some heroes. Malthael this is not his best map, but it can obviously do a lot for you in the solo lane. And this, he will be strong against the standard tank that comes out with L5 running such a tanky solo laner with the Dahaka.
That was a little bit of a questionable banning Malthael actually, because very likely Odag will be playing on that Genji. And oftentimes Odag was also the one playing Malthael at the same time, so it's a little bit questionable, but still a decent ban coming out from L5. Now, the real question is RRR. How can they have lots of things to think about. I'm sure Falstad is one of them. Still lots of DPS missing from the draft from L5 right now. So they have to pick on one. The best choice, probably just going with something with rotational. they're just gonna go with Tastar once more. They're scared of double supports coming in.
That Tastar ban is a little bit weird. I mean, we could see Vala here, but pretty unlikely we see the Vala, Tastar, Uther on this map. And if it's going to be Greymane, which I think is much more likely as their range DPS, then they're not really going to be running that with Tastar. I feel like L5 could certainly just lock in Greymane Tyrael here and run a very similar comp to what RRR did, except with invulnerability with extra armor for the Greymane. He's got good wave clear, good camp clear timings as well. And you have the added bonus that because L5 normally gets the faster the faster boss take, because they're going to have an EXP lead almost certainly. With the Dahaka, they get 10 first, they can try to force a fight, then take boss. Tyrael gives you that extra protection of the boss pit itself for that kind of timing that we've seen so many times on this map. It's why stronger teams usually pick Sky Temple against weaker teams, because you can just kind of follow the recipe for success. Will be Garrosh over the Tyrael, though, yet again. I did not think we were going to be seeing him on this map, but I, again, have to go back and say, I think this is some experimentation for L5. I don't think that we'll be seeing them play against the stronger teams in this league with comps like this.
Not as much as what we're seeing from L5 today, for sure. But I was expecting some Garrosh plays, but not this much. Let's see what else they got. They picked Greymane already. Maybe they will just finish up with a Leeming at the very end. SD, of course, swept every single player back in Eastern Clash with the Leeming, and I think Mage is a perfect fit for the team.
Yeah, I think so too. You can't really run triple tank with the Dahaka, Garrosh, and another tank.
No more triple tank, please.
No. Nope. We don't want to talk about it anymore. Please. But I think, yeah, a mage like Leeming is going to be the choice. Do they just round this out with a Tychus against the double tank again? That's what I'm starting to feel like. No, it's going to be Lunara here. So a different approach to doing the slow tick-based damage and Leoric's spell-based damage to dealing with the armor-based composition for L5. They can't burn down the health using percentage-based damage with this comp, but they can slowly burn it down with the spell power of Leoric, Lunara, and then Genji, who does mostly ability power damage as well. So some things to think about.
Interesting. They will lose the rotational fights, but they will still have Leoric just going around the map, just soaking lanes. He can push and clear waves pretty decently. So that's also a thing. And pretty strong solo lane too, but against the Dahaka in this battleground.
I think he's very strong against Dahaka. As long as he uses his Wraith Walk correctly, he will never get tongue grabbed. You know, he can clear wave decently. If it's pushed in against him, that's okay. He's not going to feel too threatened in that matchup. It's not a winning matchup for him per se, but I think it's a strong one for him. It's kind of a weird pick, though, with the exception of the Entomb. The Entomb is going to grab basically anybody, not Zeratul, but basically anybody else. So looking for team fight control with this one, I guess. And we're going to see Jungha Zeratul. It feels like it's been months.
It's been a while. It's been a long time since the appearance of Genji. We did not see too many Zeratuls coming in, but here he is. This big battleground when Dahaka comes in, when there's a stealth hero on the other side. You really have to be careful in all lanes. I think they want to get some picks from the beginning of the game.
We'll see if they can do just that, G-Clef, as we head into game number 2. The map pick of L5, it's Sky Temple. Let's jump into it. In blue, 2 for 2 on the Garrosh. It's Hooligan for L5, SC on Zeratul, Jungha on Dahaka, SD on Greymane, and Sway on Uther. So SC on that patented Zeratul, because they are running the triple melee here. They had to make a flex.
And on the other side, in red, RRR, Odak on Genji, MSG on Rehgar, EGC on Lunara, Kong on Leoric, and the last one, Muradin.
So SC is a renowned Zeratul player, by the way. This is not really a massive crazy flex for him, because on TNL he would play a lot of Zeratul. He's very famous for that, as he was the melee assassin player back then. So this is not an absurd switch by any means. Very common to see when they run triple melees like this. We saw it with the Illidan comps with Zeratul as well. He wouldn't necessarily play the Illidan, would play the Zeratul instead. So, one of the most famous Zeratul players in Korea, next to Tist, in fact. The two of them are very renowned. Jung-Ah and Rich up there in the top 4. So let's see what we can do with this. It's the second time now we are going to be seeing this armor comp. And this is what I was talking about with the gank potential. Oh, there's the first pick. Potential. I think Luke does survive there. But this is what we were talking about for picks. I do want to point out one thing really quick, because I forgot to talk about it last game. With this new patch, we also have a new UI. So when you see that green plus 20, for example, it means how much armor the hero is currently holding. So plus 25 means both those heroes have 25 armor at that moment. So a much more improved version of showing exactly how much armor a hero has.
That's right. It's easier to see at...
Oh, there's a grab.
There's a grab. Not go up, but... I guess the Dwarf Toss actually got cancelled in the middle or
I think he might have actually just used Wrecking Ball right on top of itself instead of throwing back, because it wasn't necessary, just to temporarily stun him. It may have also interrupted the Dwarf Toss, not sure there. That was a bit weird, hard to tell.
It was a bit weird, but with a Zeratul, I don't think Zeratul even used the blink. So I think that was going to be a kill regardless.
Yeah.
And with that kill especially, just taking over the temple here, and Greymane has been pushing bottom. Naro has to go down and take care of that. Just trading temples for now. But of course, a little more XP for L5 from getting that kill, and a little bit extra soak from Greymane too.
It's actually Lightning Bond coming out from Rhaegar, so if it's on to the Muradin, if he's going in deep, or onto the Genji, will provide a lot of extra damage, but does sacrifice the faster rotational power of Wolf Run. We do see another gank attempt here with Jung-Ah coming in. Tekuluk goes in deep. Remember, now playing the Warrior. Does avoid the grab there from Garrosh, but he's so low. Lightning Bond not going to save him there, as MSG is just going to try to clear this up now. That's the second pick for L5. And if it were different teams, I'd say, to be honest, I think they needed more, but so far this has been good. And actually, before I say any more, I guess it might be a third.
Yeah, it will be a third. And he's getting kills over and over. Take a look, even though he's a Muradin, of course, Muradin oftentimes, you think you're safe because you have the Dwarf Toss, but against a Garrosh who can also toss you from the other side, that's a good pick off, but he has to be a little bit more of a safer positioning. He was way too deep, and the problem was that he was alone oftentimes.
Well, SDE is going to just clear this camp. They could set up to take the camp now themselves, try to push in to damage the wall and perhaps get the healing well before the next temple phase. I think it's a pretty big ask, though, at this stage, because they don't have the advantage in lane to actually do more than that. They have a slight EXP lead, as it looks like we saw Kong consider the rotation down, but we'll head right back up to make sure that he doesn't lose any of these important minions when they're just on the cusp of even talent tiers. There's the camp take for the bot push. Let's see what L5 wants to do with it right now. They are going to heavy push to look for the pick here onto Lunara. It was such a great gank target, and actually that's going to be the free kill there. Now, it's not so much of a crazy ask to kill that healing fountain. They're even going to try to catch rotations down. Odok is found. And the push continues down in that bot lane. We're watching this for some reason.
Yep, and every time they try to soak EXP, they lose a member. And L5 really rotating perfectly to pick off a member, and having Zeratul on this map is pressuring hard, and every single time Zeratul appears, very likely to actually get a kill.
So while we're watching this top fight, for some reason, a lot of important things are happening down here. Another attempted pick here. Not only did they get mission accomplished on the healing well, they got another kill here. SDE looks like he will be killed. In fact, almost the double here, as EGZ is doing so much damage.
Zeratul goes back to do as much damage. There's a healing coming out from Swoi again, and it seems like he will survive this.
I don't know if Tekuluk will be so lucky. SC does miss the Void Spike there, unfortunately. That might have been an opportunity to go in for deeper damage, but Tekuluk himself alone will not be able to do much here. They don't have level 10, and now this is going to be a free temple, and they have to still deal with the Siege Giant camp, which is nearly full health, as Kong is desperately just trying to even up the experience right now. Like, Jung-Ah is pushing the top fort. It's taking damage. Kong can't rotate down, so there's just no realistic way for this temple to be denied. And remember that timing I was talking about with Boss when they have 10 first? If they had this comp with Tyrael, would have been different. They might not have gotten the picks to have such an advantage, but this would be where they'd posture for Boss. Because they don't have Tyrael, even with the level 10 advantage, I think it's pretty risky, and I don't think they're going to take that chance right now.
They have a lot of tools too. They have Void Prison, the taunt, isolation when Genji comes in, and Swoi is still holding that question mark.
They are going to go for this,
yes,
actually.
So I think there's a very good chance, as I was about to say, and they are going for it. As they RR still, are they?
They didn't have vision of where RR was, so they decided to back off. I think even with the abilities you speak of and possibly the Divine Storm coming out from Swoi, it's just a risky ask to try to make this happen without something like a Falstad Gust or a Tyrael Sanctification, because if you don't have those tools, RRR could get a pick in the early fight or tick up to 10, fight you on even heroics, and you have the disadvantage because you used a lot of your cooldowns on the boss, you lost a lot of your health on the boss. Why take a risk like that when you could force a fight later with a larger advantage that you have from the globals and take a safer boss? You don't want to throw away the advantage you've worked so hard to build.
I thought that call was alright because there's not much of a, as you talked about the Gust and the other tools, there's not much on the other side to actually stop that from happening too. So yeah. I thought Void Prison was just enough, but they want to go with the rotational as their theme to have Jungha just rotating around this map, just taking the advantage of EXP just like this.
And 5 men were rotated to this location for RR. They have to make something happen here. And no matter what, Jong could just instantly come in. Here's the commitment even to the grab here onto Hooligan. There's a Divine Shield. He locks it in.
There's an Intune, but no focusing at all. There's Rehgar picked off already. Ancestral did go in, but Lara doing tons of damage. Is that going to be enough when there's no damage coming in from the left side?
He's stunned by the boss. STE will be killed by the boss. It's still a 2 for 3. Swoi trying to heal himself up here. Gets that last minute heal. And this actually could be more. EDZ does get away with Kong having the slow there. But remember, this was a 4v5 fight 1. Jungha didn't come down until the fight was starting to turn. So this push went all the way to the keep wall. It's completely destroyed. And it was a 1 fight at the end of the day. They didn't get the boss. RR committed 5 to this against a global hero. Had they not gotten any picks there, then it would have been disastrous. So they had to commit to the fight, even though it was sloppy, even though Tekaluk was on top of the boss pit there, and the fight went a little bit disastrous. They had to take that fight once they had already made the choice to commit to the 5-man because they don't have globals. They don't have the ability to say, I guess we sent 5 people over here, let's just back off. And in fact, they're going to lose several shots of this bot temple.
Nice burrow there, too. Bait the Q.
Oh my god, 2v5. They're going to get a pick. Look at that. 2v5. They got a pick. Are they going to get more?
No, they'll get, at least they'll get 1 for sure. And Genji almost got picked off from SDE coming in, and you will get more kills.
Yeah, that's 2.
And it's 3.
Can they get 4?
Survive
Can they get 4? Can they get Odok?
And meanwhile,
Garrosh
has been just walking his way, and Uther has been there forever.
Garrosh is coming down. They wanted to get the kill onto Odok. They won't get it. That's a keep, and they might get more. Kong is going to go down. Not the worst hero to lose, but this game was already out of the hands of RRR. They're thinking about game 3. Double temples taken against them. Boss available, mind you, with nearly a double talent tier advantage for L5. That's their next objective once this expires. Luckily for them, they're already in position for it. Jungha's just heading top because he wants to make sure he can get something done extra before he just ports into the boss, can start to prep the waves for catapult minions to hit the core. And RR, this feels like a weak move when you look at the minimap. You're like, well, shouldn't they be contesting the boss? Shouldn't they be doing something else? Realistically, I don't think they can. They're just trying to prevent the catapults from doing more damage to the core, make it so Jungha has to stay up there longer if he wants to prep those catapults while they now rotate down towards the boss. Still, denying this boss is going to be so difficult.
See, the man going in, diving in. Greymane's not even here, and Dehaka needs to join the fight right now.
They need to use Divine Shield. There it is. The Entomb was good.
For a moment, there was a lot of armor on that Garrosh for sure. Now, I think they're really making safer decisions. Talking about L5 all the time, I think they can be a little bit more arrogant and just play like the boss, go evade and take the camp from RRR side.
It's a positive trade though for RRR. They wasted the Divine Shield. That's on a much longer cooldown.
Pretty good cleanse coming out, and there's a kill onto Leoric anyhow. So they're onto the chase already. Jungha just climbing up. Genji trying to do some damage,
void.
But he may be caught.
That's 2 kills guaranteed. How can RRR possibly turn this? Look, Ancestral is used, but it's not going to be enough to save himself. He can't cast it on himself. That's been
Dragon
changed for a
Blade.
long time.
Oh, insta-gone! He couldn't
this is
even
it.
swing one blade.
This is going to be game over. Jungha gets tossed in to try to get the tongue grab.
of Dehaka.
And Leap coming in for HGC, but she's going to go down. And this is going to be GG G-Clef.
It's going to be GG. And
Entomb!
see the power. There's Entomb, but for what? No, giving another 20 kills in 11-minute game.
3 catapults on the core, plus the Siege Giants, plus 5 members of L5 is going to be the more one-sided than game 1. Game number 2 going over to the Eastern Clash champions. 1 game left required here. 2-0 is Garrosh for Hooligan. And RRR is going to have to go back to the drawing board after our break. So where they want to take the draft, because it certainly has not been working out for them so far. But I think they